Hello, my friend Dave D here, and welcome to this month's Inner Game of Success. And this is such an important session that we're going to go through here today, especially with what's happening now in the world, because I think we need things that are going to keep us grounded, keep us focused, keep us positive, keep us moving forward towards our goals, because it's so easy with all the negativity that's going on to be derailed from getting what we desire for ourselves, for our families, and for our customers, clients, and patients. And so today we're going to be talking about what I call the motivated entrepreneur's morning success ritual. Now, I have talked about it briefly in the past in other videos, but I want to take a deep dive into this today. And so that you can either follow the one that I'm doing to get started or create your own and start with it immediately, like tomorrow morning would be best. So, what is a morning ritual? Well, a morning ritual is a series of actions that you're going to do in the same sequence at the same time every single day. Now, that's what makes up a ritual. It's done at the same time in the same sequence every single day. We're going to go over my sequence and what I do, and you don't necessarily have to follow it in the exact sequence that I follow my routine in. In fact, you may not even want to use any part of my routine. But the key is that you do create something for yourself that you're going to do every single day. So, why is this actually important? Why is it vital? Well, here's the truth about this. How you start your day in great part determines how you'll handle what unfolds during the rest of your day. Now, I've heard people say that how you start your day determines how your day will go, but honestly, that's not the truth because there's so many different things happening that are beyond our control. But what we do have control over is our response to those things, the response to the unexpected, the response to the negative, the response to the new opportunities that may present themselves to us. And how we start our day with our mindset, with our bodies, with our emotions, with our spirituality will help give us the strength to follow through on what we need to do, regardless of what happens, in order to reach the destination that we want to reach. Now, I have many inspirations. I've been studying this topic for over a decade, and I've done many different variations of morning routines, and I've taught many different variations of morning routines. And one of the things that I love to do is give credit where credit is due. So the first time I really heard about morning routines in detail came from Eben Pagan's program called Wake Up Productive. And he talked about the importance of it and he shared a routine. And for a while, I followed the routine that Eben laid out. And it was a great starting point. And then I read the book, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. Many people consider this to be the Bible, so to speak, of morning rituals, of morning routines. And I bought different variations of this book because it's kind of like the chicken soup for the soul book, right? You know, those where there's chicken soup for the entrepreneur soul, there's chicken soup for the stay-at-home mom soul. Well, Hal's done basically the same type of thing with his books. So I've got a couple of them. One is with the Miracle Morning, just a standard one. Then I got the one for entrepreneurs, and there wasn't really that much of a difference in it. But again, he lays out a very specific morning routine, and I'm not going to share that with you because it's not mine to share. But you can look it up very easily online. And then most recently is a book by Craig Ballantyne. Craig is a brilliant online marketer, is the owner and CEO of Early to Rise. And he's got two books out called The Perfect Day Formula, and his most recent book is The Perfect Week Formula. And he has a different take on what you should be doing in the morning. And we'll talk a little bit about that and the pros and the cons of what Craig shares. So those are my main inspirations for creating morning rituals. And like I said, I've done many, many different kinds of these. I'm going to share with you the one that I've been doing for a while that really, really helps me. And I think it will help you as well. Now, here are the problems with many of the morning rituals that are out there. The first thing is that they take too damn long. I mean, who has 2 hours in the morning to do all of this stuff? I know that I do. I don't have that kind of time, and I'm sure you don't have that kind of time either. So, what I wanted to do is take the best of morning rituals and put them together into a little system. The next thing is some of them are so complicated. There's so many steps to them that you actually need like to have a checklist that you got to check off. And at least for me, what I have found is the more complicated the morning routine is, the less likely that I'm going to be able to do it. And then the final thing that I found problems is that a lot of what is taught, I would say, is kind of new age woo woo kind of stuff that I've tested and that I just didn't find. I didn't find it to work for me personally. Now, it doesn't mean that some of that stuff wouldn't work for you, but I only can share with you what I know works for me personally. And that a lot of the stuff was inefficient. So, for example, there is say your affirmations out loud, right? Well, and then say your goals out loud and then visualize your goals. Well, that seems like it's a really inefficient process, especially if I'm planning my day. So I'm working on my goals, and all of the steps that I'm taking are the action steps that I'm taking are the same action steps that I'd be visualizing to achieve my goal. So I haven't found that a lot of that stuff is valuable. Again, for me, it may be great for you. And if it is, you can incorporate it into your routine. So here is the debate. The debate is this: should I be actually doing my morning routine first thing in the morning, or should I be tackling my most important task first? Now, in Craig Ballantyne's book, The Perfect Week Formula, he talks about that you want to definitely, positively handle and go for your most important task first. The thing that is probably not urgent, but important, if you know that matrix. And he says you got to work on that for 60 to 90 minutes before you do anything else. And he makes a compelling case for that. Now, here, let's look at both. And so then you can make an informed decision for yourself. The benefits of this are, number one, that you accomplish something of tangible value immediately, right? You're working towards your most precious and important goal first thing. And so you've got that thing done. And the beautiful thing about doing it first thing in the morning is there's no distractions, right? And so you make sure you get this not urgent, but important item done. Now, the next thing, though, is it takes a lot of discipline, at least for me. Because what I have found is if I follow that process, I get so into doing my work that I keep putting off and pushing off and pushing off and pushing off my morning ritual. But really, that just has to do with discipline. You've got to say, hey, listen, I'm going to work on this most important task for 60 or 90 minutes. I'm going to set a timer. And when that timer is done, man, I'm going to head off and I'm going to do my morning ritual. The next thing is, are you truly in the right mindset to get right at it first thing in the morning? Now, the answer is probably no initially, but you can train yourself to be in the right mindset. And Craig, in his book, goes over specific strategies for exactly how to do that so that, bang, you are ready to get to work on your most important goal right away. The next thing is, are you doing your morning ritual as a form of procrastination? Which I think a lot of people are. I think these people have got an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2 hour plus morning rituals. They're really doing it as a form of, hey, I really don't want to get down to work. So you want to make sure that we're avoiding that. Next is, can you actually make your most important task part of your morning ritual? Maybe it's the first thing that you do, then you go right into your morning ritual, or maybe it's the last thing that you do. So you do all your morning ritual stuff first, and then you do your 90-minute task or hour most important task immediately after. So it's actually part of your morning ritual. So all of that's really for you to decide. Now, today, for example, what I did is I got to my most important task first. And it was something that I really didn't want to do. But first thing when I got up, I banged it out. 9 minutes later, I was doing my morning ritual. And so I feel that Craig's strategy, if you train yourself, number one, to be in the right mindset first thing in the morning, to get your most important task done, and then do your morning ritual, is extremely valuable. However, if you're not going to do that, then absolutely do your morning routine first and then do your most important task last. But the bottom line is on all of this, you need to decide what is going to work for you. The key here is that you actually follow through and implement, and that you take action and design your own morning ritual and then follow through on it. So let's go over my morning ritual. This is what I do every single morning. And I call it M.E.R.G.E, and this is the Motivated Entrepreneur Success Ritual. So the acronym is M.E.R.G.E. So the M stands for meditation, and we'll be discussing each one of these in more detail in just a little bit. The E stands for exercise, getting our body moving. The R is for reading, getting our mind strong and getting ourselves in the right mindset. G is for gratitude. You're feeling grateful for what you have. Feeling grateful for what you have in life is a great way to start the day, and it puts you in the proper mindset. E is for energy. And that can mean different things for you. So, for example, energy can mean eating breakfast. Energy can mean for you making a healthy protein shake or drinking a healthy protein shake. Heck, energy for you could mean intermittent fasting. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on. So let's go over each one of these. The first is meditation. And I can tell you that it is easier than you think. And I'm going to give you a little methodology here. Now, it's obviously beyond the scope of this training here to get into meditation in detail. But the main thing I would say is don't overcomplicate it. Don't overcomplicate it. Just get started with what I share with you. Then if you want to dive deeper into it, you can. A wonderful book is called 10% Happier by Dan Harris. Dan was and is a news reporter who had this nervous breakdown on the air. It's pretty famous. And it talks about his journey with meditation. And you might be thinking, my God, a book about meditation, how boring. It isn't. This guy's a masterful writer. It's really, really exciting. So you're going to want to read that book, 10% Happier, if you want to get into this. So meditation, what is it? It's sit comfortably. This doesn't mean you've got to be in full lotus, half lotus. Heck, you can be in no lotus. You can be sitting in a chair. The key is to sit comfortably. Now, I sit on a meditation cushion. I actually invested in one of those. But again, you don't need it. The next thing is set a timer. So I bring in my iPhone. I make sure, by the way, that it's on the do not disturb mode, because the last thing you want happening is someone calling you, right? Or the thing dinging and ringing and buzzing and beeping while you're doing your meditation. And then the next thing is you simply shut your eyes and you listen to your breath. You follow your breath. Go in and go out. Go in and go out. That's the basics of meditation. Now, there's something that you can add, which I do. And now it's called contemplative prayer, and it's a form of Christian meditation. And so what I do is I repeat a sacred phrase. Now, I'm a Christian, so my phrase is Christian, and I just repeat it on the in-breath and then on the out-breath, on the in-breath, on the out-breath, right? And so you just keep doing that. The key is this. When your mind wanders, whether you're doing just the breathing and listening to yourself breathe and following the breath, or if you're breathing and doing the phrase, the sacred phrase, when your mind wanders, don't beat yourself up. It's going to wander. That's part of the meditation process. Simply pause and bring your mind back to your breath. And if you're doing the phrase, back to your sacred phrase. Now, how long should your meditation be? Well, I would do it to get started for just 5 minutes. Just sit down, set your timer for 5 minutes, and don't judge yourself. When I started meditating in the beginning, I would judge myself. Man, my mind's wandering. I can't control my mind. That's part of the process, right? So again, just breathe. When your mind wanders, which it will, bring it back to the breath. I would do 5 minutes for an entire week. The next week, I would add another minute. So now you're doing 6 minutes. Then the next week, add another minute. So you're doing 7 minutes, right? And by simply adding a little bit of time every single week, you'll expand your practice and you won't stress yourself out over it and you won't quit. Okay, so M is for meditation. The next thing that I do is I exercise. Now, here's the key. We want to choose something that you can do at home, all right, or that you can do on the road. So meditation is the first thing I do. Yoga is the second thing I do. And yoga is my daily go-to form of exercise. I do yoga literally every single day. I don't think I've missed a day now in over like 125 days. It just makes my body feel absolutely fantastic. And I also like it because it has the mindfulness element of it. Now, here's what I can tell you. If you've never done yoga, it's not going to be fun at first. In fact, it's probably going to be a little bit painful. I remember when I had a little bit of minor surgery a couple years ago and I couldn't do yoga for a couple weeks. Man, when I got back into it, I was like, God, this sucks, right? Because I had lost all my flexibility and it was kind of painful. The key here, and again, I can't teach you an entire yoga, how to do yoga here, but the key is to not overdo it. It's to enjoy it. Yoga is not about flexibility. Yoga is not about getting to somewhere. And yoga is not a competition. Okay. So it really should feel good. Now, here's some resources for you. A free resource is if you go to YouTube and you just type in Rodney Yee. Rodney is one of my favorite virtual yoga instructors. Not one of mine. He is my favorite virtual yoga instructor. And he's got a ton of free videos on YouTube, anywhere from 15 minutes to 30 minutes in length. And so that's a really great way to get started. Make sure you're choosing a beginner's one if you're just getting started. Now, if you really get into this, a great resource is a membership site, and it's called Gaia. And Gaia has literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of yoga videos, including by Rodney E., but by dozens and dozens of other yoga teachers in different lengths, depending upon what you want to work on, depending upon the type of yoga that you want to do. And I believe they've got like a free trial, so you can go check that out as well. Now, this exercise portion doesn't necessarily have to be your exercise for the day, because you may want to go and do a full workout and, work out for 2 hours. I don't know what you're into. So you can always do that later in the day. This is something to get your body moving, to get your blood flowing. Okay. And again, I would strongly recommend yoga. It is one of the most beautiful things that you can do for your mind and your body. Okay. So we've got meditate, we've got exercise. Next, let's go into reading. We've got to tune up the old noggin, right? We got to get our brain firing. Now, again, because I'm a Christian, I personally read scripture every day, and I have an app, and the app is called the Word Among Us. And if you just go to wau.org, you can check it out. Now, it is a Catholic-based reading, but it's really just reading from the Old Testament and the New Testament. And so, again, that's personally what I do. You can read whatever you want to read during this time, but you want it to be positive. You want it to be uplifting. You want it to be educational. Right? You want it to be something that's going to get your mind in the right focus and in the right frame before your day actually begins. And you might want to consider the classics. So there are classic books out there which are so positive. And I recommend that you have a go-to book. And I want to show you a couple of my go-to books. The first, and this could not be any more appropriate for this time, this is Jim Rohn's book, The Seasons of Life. And if you haven't read this book, it is a short book, very, very easy to read. It is so appropriate for right now. And I think and it absolutely will put you in the right mindset, not only now, but in the future. The other one, that's a go-to book. And again, this was recommended to me by Craig Ballantyne, which is The Art of Living, the classical manual on virtue, happiness, and effectiveness. The Art of Living. And these are just so you can open up this book anywhere and just get some great advice. For example, I just opened the book here. It says, instead of averting your eyes from the painful events of your life, look at them squarely and contemplate them often. By facing the realities of death, infirmity, loss, and disappointment, you free yourself of illusions and false hopes. You may have avoid miserable, envious thoughts, and will help you avoid miserable and envious thoughts. So again, those are two go-to books for me. Again, I just opened up that book to that passage. So, but you want to have something that you can read that's positive, uplifting, and motivational. The next thing is gratitude. And I want you to feel the gratitude. What I think a lot of people fall into is that this becomes another to-do, another thing to check off of their list. Not just gratitude, but meditation. Okay, I meditated. Okay, I did yoga. Okay, I've done my reading, right? And that's not what this is about. Okay, so when we're talking about gratitude, you want to feel it. You want to feel the gratitude. You want it to well up inside you. So my recommendation is you write down 3 things that you're grateful for. And I think the process of writing it down is important. And after you write it down, pause, and uh, and feel it, really feel it. The next thing is make at least one of the things something small that you're grateful for. I mean, something just like, the breeze that you felt on your face in the morning, or whatever it is, the rays of sunshine coming into your bedroom, whatever it is for you, write it down. The next thing is try not to repeat unless it's something that has real meaning for you. So with everything that's going on in my gratitude journal, I've been writing down different variations of, I'm so grateful for feeling healthy. I'm so grateful for having having a strong immune system, right? So I've been writing that every single day because it has real meaning to me. An optional thing is to get yourself a 5-minute journal. I don't have mine because I keep it up by on my bedside table, so I can write first thing in the morning and then right before I go to sleep at night. But it's really a 5-minute journal. It starts off with 3 things that you're grateful for. Then you write down 3 things that would make the day really a great day for you, an amazing day. And then you write down a positive statement like I am. Right. So I am confident. I am powerful. I am healthy. Right. I am successful. I am courageous. And the beautiful thing about that, remember I was talking about efficiency in this process? Well, that accomplishes a lot of efficiency in the process. So instead of saying all of these affirmations over and over and over and over again, like you're making that one I am statement. So again, the 5-minute journal, you can look it up online. You can get it from Amazon. You can get it directly from the folks that created it. And the final thing is energy or your essential task. All right. So the choice is really yours. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. So the first thing is I do not eat every single day. Right. So that's why I have energy as opposed to eating. So I'm a big proponent of intermittent fasting. That coupled with keto really changed my entire health. Right. I had high blood pressure. I had cholesterol issues. I weighed too much. I did keto and intermittent fasting, and everything changed for me. Now, again, I'm not a doctor, even though I sometimes refer to myself as Dr. D. Uh, so I'm not giving you medical advice here or health advice at all, but you might want to check it out, right? If you are going to eat something in the breakfast, eat something to energy, to build your energy. Have something energizing, okay? And you need to decide what that is for you. So typically, if I am going to have something first thing in the morning, I'm going to have like a protein shake, a healthy protein shake. Now, the other thing that you can do here is to work on that most essential task. So if you decided, hey, you know what, I really want to make that my essential task the most part of my morning ritual, you can do it right here. Now, of course, as we talked about earlier, you can do it before you start your morning ritual as well, or that could actually be the beginning of your morning ritual. So let's talk about now how long this thing should be. Like I've said, I've seen some morning rituals that have so many steps and so complicated that they go for over 2 hours. That's insane. We don't have 2 hours. We're entrepreneurs, right? So the first thing, I'm going to give you some basic guidelines. And again, this is what I do. You need to decide for yourself what works for you. First, meditation. I meditate anywhere between 10 and 20 minutes. My go-to is 10 minutes. So today, sat down on my meditation cushion, meditated for 10 minutes. Now, if by the way, at the end of 10 minutes, I feel like I need more or I feel like I want more, I'll extend it by another 5 minutes. Exercise, anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. So today I exercised actually for 33 minutes. I did a 33-minute yoga routine. For reading, 10 to 20 minutes, right? Now, this doesn't mean this is all of the reading that you're going to do or all of the studying that you're going to do. This is the thing that you're going to do as part of your morning ritual. So today, I simply read The Word Among Us, right? So, and that was about a 10-minute read, 5 to 10-minute read. And then I was on to the next thing. Now, tomorrow, I may read from Jim Rohn's book, as well as my daily scripture reading. Okay. But I'm not going to go any longer than 20 minutes. Gratitude. Well, I use the 5-minute journal. And so guess how long it takes me? If you guess 5 minutes, you are spot on. Yeah. So I spent about 5 minutes writing down and feeling the gratitude. The energy portion of this, again, for most mornings, I am skipping breakfast, right? I don't eat breakfast. Today, I did have a protein shake and I had a Quest protein shake. I'm a big fan of Quest and the Quest bars. Low carb, high protein, right? And so I got this and I drank it. Now, yes, I know you can go and you can make stuff with broccoli and spinach and all of that, and that's wonderful. And I sometimes do that, but most of the time, I'm not going to do it. So better that I drink this than having a cup of I don't know, cocoa. I don't know where that's coming from, but you get what I mean, right? So I don't spend a lot of time on the energy portion of this. I almost never have, quote, the big breakfast, because I found that the big breakfast actually slows me down. Okay. So how long should it be? Well, I love the term hour of power. And so I try to make my morning ritual 60 minutes long, right? So today was probably a little bit over because I did 33 minutes of yoga. So maybe I did an hour and 3 minutes or an hour and 5 minutes of my morning ritual. But again, you need to decide what works for you. All right. So I wouldn't recommend, though, any longer than an hour. I think any longer than an hour, it's really a form of procrastination. Whereas entrepreneurs, we got to get to work. We got to make things happen. All right. So here are some pro tips for mastering your morning ritual. First one is keep it simple. Like I said, don't have a bazillion different steps in it. Keep it simple. So my morning routine is very, very simple. Again, it's meditation. It is exercise, reading, gratitude, and then some type of energy, right? Whether that's a protein shake or intermittent fasting or whatever it is. Keep it simple. The next thing is Create a 30-day challenge for yourself. Just commit to yourself. Make it a goal. Hey, for the next 30 days, I'm going to do my morning ritual and keep track. Make it a goal. Make it fun. And then see how it works for you. And for those 30 days, do your ritual. And then if it doesn't work for you, drop it. Say that Dave D and his morning ritual, what a bunch of BS. But I don't think you're going to say that. You may say, well, I need to change some things around to make it work for me, and that's 100% fine. But challenge yourself to get this thing done. The next thing I would recommend is that you design a shorter version of this, a 5 to 10 minute version of it. Now, during the 30-day challenge, make sure that you're doing your entire routine. However, when I was traveling a lot, which obviously I'm not traveling a lot now, but when I was traveling internationally, going these places to speak, sometimes I'd be flying overnight, right? And I'd get in and I'd be exhausted. So I'm not going to do an hour morning ritual. So I would do a shortened version, a 5 to 10 minute version, maybe a minute of meditation, maybe a minute of stretching out, right? Doing a minute of sun salutations, if you know that from yoga, right? Maybe doing a minute of reading. Like I could open up this book and in a minute I could read, or I could open up a scripture and for a minute read something. So again, the danger in this is that you'd keep defaulting to the 5 to 10 minute one. That's not what it's for. It's your 5 to 10 minute morning ritual is really designed for when you simply truly don't have the time, right? Next thing is ditch the I don't have time to do this excuse. Yes, you do. Get up a little bit earlier and make this happen, right? I'm a busy entrepreneur just like you. I have a family just like you, right? And so you make this a priority, and here's why: because this doesn't detract from your time. It actually creates time. It creates energy, and it creates positive results in both your personal and your professional life. I know that when I skip my morning routine, right? And by the way, I'm not perfect on this. So it's not like, oh, Dave never. No, I miss it. Last week, I blew it, man. I missed like a few days of my morning ritual. And I can tell you, I was more stressed out. I was less productive, even though I was, quote, in the office more, right? And then I didn't beat myself up. Well, I did a little bit, right? That's what we do, right, as entrepreneurs. So I beat myself up a little bit, and then I got right back into it. And man, once I did, I felt great again and was more productive and produced better work. So there is no excuse. Final thing I'll leave you with does come from Jim Rohn's book, The Seasons of Life. And here's what he says. And I think this is so appropriate for right now. The first is that life and business are like the changing seasons. That's one of the best ways to illustrate life. It's like the seasons that change. Here's the second phrase. You cannot change the seasons, but you can change yourself. And having a morning ritual that you do is one of the most powerful ways to change yourself for the better. Well, I hope you got a lot of value from this video, and I hope that you incorporate a morning ritual into your life and that you follow through and do the 30-day challenge. You'll thank me, I'm telling you, for years to come. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you again soon.